So, thinking about question one, the question says, is social prevention a viable approach to the control of crime, or is it too broad and macro in its focus? So, what I want us to think about first are that some considerations in answering this question, some underlying assumptions, I guess you could say, before going into what I think you may want to address in an answer to this question. Now, here are a few considerations. I think the first one is based on what was discussed in the reading and the lecture and all of that. Now, social prevention, we want to figure out, is this something that's purely focused on the event of crime? Because you'll recall that some of the early social prevention interventions were actually initially, um, education, early childhood, social inequality types of interventions. So when there's that element um, to social prevention, we also want to think, is it fair to critique social prevention um, in very narrow terms of crime control, right? So we need to be aware that it extends beyond the crime control element. Now, moving on to how you might want to answer this question. I think one thing that's important to remember is that social prevention is likely to have a more big picture, bigger time frame kind of focus. So it's not going to prevent specific crimes at one specific point in time, right? Social prevention is more about reshaping the conditions in which a motivated offender might emerge. Another way of putting that is it's trying to prevent the motivated offender, one point in the in Felson's crime triangle. It's trying to prevent that motivated offender aspect from happening in the first place, right? You could also think of it in terms of social prevention as reducing the criminogenic potential of certain communities and places and social structures. So, with those caveats in place, let's come back to the question. The question is saying, is social prevention a viable approach to crime control, to the control of crime, or is it too broad and macro in its focus? Okay? So I suppose my answer would be that it depends on the time frame. It depends how specific your thoughts about crime control are. If you are a very situation focused thinker, you're thinking about situational prevention, then obviously social prevention is going to, at least on the surface, be too broad and macro in its focus, right? It's not looking at the immediate situation of crime. However, if you're taking a more big picture view, you might think, well, social prevention is a useful strategy for, addressing the population level rates of things, right? For addressing, um, you know, how many people are likely to become motivated offenders. It's addressing it at that level, like at the population level. So if your answers, either agreeing that social prevention is too broad or disagreeing that social prevention is too broad, your answers should touch upon something to do perhaps with scale and focus. Okay? So hopefully that gives you a pointer if you feel your answer has been going in the right direction.